Boys and girls, welcome to the third episode of Room 2250. I'm your host, Haider and Nadeem, along with my co-host,
Christopher McCarricker.
Chris. On the first episode, we had around roughly 1,300 listens. And so now we have expectations for the show.
Yeah, we do.
So this time, we have not one, but two phenomenal guests. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CS Rep to UTSU, Lisa Go, and CSSU Vice President, Cheryl Lau.
Woohoo!
So, ladies, how are you today?
Great, good. Yeah.
Good? Chris?
Thanks for asking.
Chris, how are you?
I'm honestly a little bit upset today.
Why are you upset?
Just for a little background, I was trying to talk to Haider. Haider and I are good friends about the news this week. And he informed me that for the sake of the news segment of our podcast, he wants all my reactions to the news to be genuine. So he said he has now barred me from reading the news.
Wow.
Okay, so the reason we're doing this is because multiple people came up and, they were like, we like the podcast. But, they specifically said, we like the news. They're like, we actually skip a lot of the other things. And I'm like, okay, that's it's whatever you want. But, the news, that's good stuff. Keep it up. Because nobody likes to read the varsity. So, it was I guess. But,
yeah,
that's what we are now.
Before this conversation, I went on the varsity website. And no hate, but I'm just kind of going through it. They're just like, I don't care about this article. I don't care about this article.
No, it's definitely like that. But anyways, Lisa and Cheryl. So for those of you who don't know, who are you and what do you do?
Well, I'm Cheryl. I'm VP of the CSSU. I'm third year studying computer science. That's about it.
Yeah, and I'm Lisa, and I'm a CS specialist. Just made it into the post, which is, I'm happy about that. It's good.
Woo! Yay!
Yeah, and I'm the CS director. So there's a board of directors, for those of you that don't know, on the UTSU, and I represent the CS department on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to go to housekeeping. And I know you wanted to make some announcements.
Yeah. Yeah, just some stuff about the UTSU and their services, because I don't think that a lot of people know about them. Did you guys know that there's 3-cent printing at the UTSU?
CS kids, you guys have a printing quota?
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool, but
But black and white. I don't know if you guys are printing color for 3 cents.
Good question. I don't know. That's a good question.
we have to investigate. But
we have to investigate.
if you go to Robarts, it's 15 cents.
15.
Ooh.
That's 5 times.
Yeah. Rotman has no printing quotas, even though we have to print a lot of the things. But
Yeah.
which is very unfortunate. I don't know why CS kids who literally are
500 pages.
You get 500 pages.
Everything's online, but 500 pages.
Yeah, no, it's. Yeah. Did you have any?
Yeah, a couple more things. So yeah, there's a lot of services that people don't know about. There's also discounted movie tickets for Ripley's Aquarium and Medieval Times. I think that's a.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Movie tickets.
Mhm.
Because I need to go watch Kingsman. How much are movie tickets at UTS?
I think it's around half off.
It's about half off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll confirm that 2 weeks from now, when we tune into the next episode.
Yeah.
Tune in.
What else is up with the UTSU?
On October 25th, which is in a month, the TTC will be at Hart House to take student ID photos for TTC. So if you don't have one, you should get one.
I should.
Yeah, you save a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
I don't take the TTC too often, but is it I'm assuming if you're taking a daily commuter, it's definitely worth it.
It's
Definitely.
noticeable.
Wait, no, it's they're taking the
The
Photo
ID
card,
photo.
Yeah,
they
but
actually
you need to
checked for
yeah.
me. It's kind of crazy.
You don't want to get fined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, we'll let you off easy. We won't charge you $200.
But actually, yeah, that happened I was taking the streetcar today. And someone was just like, oh man, I have my card, I just don't have it on me. And
One of my friends got booked for not paying for the go. It's a $250 court fine. So you have to pay it. Because when you try to go renew your driver's license or health card, you'll be like, you can't get this unless you pay your fine.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big deal.
Your friend went to court?
That's where you have to go to pay it. She went to go and fight it, actually, I should say.
Right.
But lost. I mean, the guy showed up, which is pretty surprising. Because so those of you who don't know, when you go to fight a fine in court, the person who issued the fine has to be there. At least for speeding tickets.
Yeah.
100%. I cannot. I'm not. I'm 50% sure about the other things.
Yeah.
But for speeding tickets, that's definitely the case. Any other?
So AGM, annual general meeting for the UTSU. All members of the UTSU can attend, including us undergraduates. So it's they have they vote on issues, and you can attend and to vote.
Chris, didn't you go to one of these?
No.
Okay. No. I know somebody told me to come once. I just didn't go. But apparently it's a lot of fun.
Jake. It was
Jake. They get pizza.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I heard
Do they
sometimes
get
it gets rowdy. That's what
it
I've
gets
heard.
ready. They got pizza that year at least. I forgot what it was
Okay.
for. It's some big deal. But
Yeah.
Anything else, Lisa?
That's mostly it. Yeah, the AGM, they're discussing constitutional changes since last year and the General Equity Director reform and the merging of the VP External and VP University Affairs into VP Advocacy. So that was the whole Maria, the scandal with the firing of Maria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
some
there was
big things happening.
So-
But on those big things, we have CSSU's very own announcement to make. Next Thursday is Pancake Morning,
Yeah.
Woo!
which means
Sorry.
between what is it?
9 and 11.
Between
Wait,
from
time, yeah.
from 9
Got
to
you.
11. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So next Thursday from 9 to 11, we have Pancake Morning.
Wait, you said this is supposed to be a regular thing from now on.
So from now on, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a Chris, what is it?
I don't remember.
Once every 2 weeks.
There you go.
It's gonna happen every 2 weeks. We're gonna have pancakes. So
I guess that would be bi-weekly.
it's bi-weekly.
Or bi-monthly.
No, not this again.
It's a recurring theme.
Listen, it's a serious topic. But no, we'll be having pancakes, and then there'll be staff around as well. We're gonna have some games if you want to play poker in the morning. You can do that as well. We're gonna have poker table set up. But one other housekeeping announcement before we get into the news, which is me and Chris would like to make a personal shout out to the user on Reddit who posted our podcast there.
Yeah, we got a lot of listeners out of it.
We've got a lot of traction. I feel stupid that I didn't do it myself, but
yeah, we're gonna start doing.
we're gonna have to start doing that ourselves. But thank you very much for that. But from now, we're gonna do apparently the favorite part about this podcast, the news.
The news.
So first bit of news is obviously out of the varsity. So University of Toronto is set to ban smoking on campus, which so McMaster recently did this in January this year, 2017, and that means everything that is U of T property, you can no longer smoke on, which doesn't include St. George Street, but it does include all of King Circle. So in front of like a convocation hall, you know.
So you can still smoke while walking to class on St. George. Though.
Yes, because that's public. Those are public roads.
Right, that makes sense.
So, how do you feel about this, Chris?
See, we were talking about this actually earlier this week, and I guess we disagreed on if this is a good thing or not. But I think given where we've kind of gone in society and how much smoking has decreased, it seems usually this kind of level of prohibition doesn't work, but it seems to work well with smoking. So I'm for it.
What do you girls think?
I mean, honestly, it'd be great if I wasn't walking behind people smoking all the time between classes. But I mean, that does seem kind of extreme. I don't know.
Lisa?
I'm for it. I don't have like a huge opinion. I kind of just hold my breath if there's a lot of smoke. I don't know.
I'll be honest though, I guess I grew up in a smoking household. I don't think cigarettes smell that bad.
Okay,
Yeah, it's not the worst.
it's definitely like. So I'm actually come out clean. I'm like I would say I'm an ex-smoker, but like I quit smoking like maybe a month and a half ago.
You're an ex-smoker that smokes a pack every now and then.
That's no. I smoke a cigarette every now and then. So I'm not a big fan of this like rule. I'm just like
Right.
what's next? You'd be like, well, no longer allowed to have McDonald's on campus because it's bad for you.
I mean,
Like,
I doubt that'll happen. but
like, that's what
I
I'm
see what you're
saying.
saying.
I'm not impressed.
The thing is, like, this whole secondhand smoke issue, I guess, right? It'll affect other people. Like, if you eat McDonald's, you're not gonna, like, affect other people's intestines or.
So
like,
doesn't like alcohol also have like a negative externality to other people when people drink it?
Like not physically though. Like you're
What
not.
do you mean?
You're not,
When
you're
you-
not gonna get. You're not gonna get secondhand like.
No.
Like,
When you have somebody,
poisoning or whatever.
when you have somebody like suppose they're like drinking in your dorm room, And aren't they obviously they're gonna become like
And there's gonna be
obnoxious
alcohol
and loud?
fumes.
And like no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm just like saying like they are like externalities to like.
Sure,
drinking,
but this is like a strictly health benefit. Like,
I think it's lame, dude. I'm not impressed.
oh,
Like, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but still.
well, I guess we're all biased. You're either a smoker or you're not a smoker. So,
Nonetheless, there's one more bit of news from the varsity. TAs are protesting. So I don't know if you guys remember. Were you guys in first year?
Oh no, that was the year before we came.
Oh,
no,
okay.
yeah.
So this is a while ago. Yeah. Okay. So me and Chris remember this.
Good
quite
year.
clearly. It was a good year. So TAs were protesting, and I guess that. So you guys are third year, so this must be 2014. In 2014 or 2015.
2015.
2015. TAs were protesting against like their pay, and there was a huge strike where we just didn't have tutorials.
yeah.
What that meant was, after our courses were done, you could no credit even compulsory courses. No, sorry, not, yeah, we could no credit even compulsory courses, and they wouldn't show up on our GPA. So that was one thing we had. So I remember that was like a pretty good year.
I remember some of my friends would ask me, "Oh, should I credit no credit this important course for my major? Like, will it look bad if like companies are asking about it?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe don't credit no credit it, but probably no one cares.
Like I don't think anybody cares, but
That was awesome. Like that was like the one time you could actually skip your exams. Like,
It was a pretty good year.
Wait, was that just like
No
a year
exams?
of 4.0s for everyone?
Well, like
it was a year of just no grade, like not necessarily.
Wow.
4.0.
yeah.
Okay.
So like so suppose like you had like 5 courses and one of them you were getting an A in, and then like 2 of them you were like doing okay, but then 2 of them you were doing poorly. You no credit them even if they're compulsory.
Yeah.
I had a friend
Wow.
who literally skipped out on a compulsory course exam because he already had the passing mark.
And then you're just fine with your
Credit, no
post?
credit. Yeah, you're
Wow.
fine. So we'll see if that ends. I don't think it'll turn it that bad, but
Well, here's hoping.
here's
Here's
hoping.
hoping.
Everyone support the TAs for the next little while at least.
It happened. I think they're set for the renegotiation in January, so it's gonna be the same time it happened last time, because that's when it started. But that's all from the varsity. So we're gonna go from news from the BBC now. So first bit of news is in June 2018, in a turn of events I didn't think would happen in my lifetime. Women can drive in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
You know what I found out about this too, actually? Sorry, I also did read the news about this part too. It's a misconception apparently in Saudi Arabia. People think that like women can't drive, so they can't do anything. Apparently, like you can be like a pilot even if you're a woman, but you couldn't drive a car before.
yeah, no, it's weird.
Well, let's ask you because you're from Saudi.
I'm close. I'm
Wait.
from Dubai, next door neighbor.
Okay.
You're allowed to drive in Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, in Saudi Arabia, like I visited Saudi Arabia, but it's like there's no real reason to. The only reason they had was literally because that was the
Yeah.
reason. They had no reason. When they asked once, like, why don't you allow female women to drive? One of the like ministers was like, because Saudi men aren't ready for it. Which is basically, what does that even mean? Like, like sitting there like, what does this mean? Like it means that you just don't want to, and so
Don't feel like it.
no, exactly. I just
Yeah.
don't like it. So they had no real reason to, but the thing is that it wasn't that women couldn't get anywhere because labor is dirt cheap there, right? So you have drivers,
Yeah.
and so there are still like I knew like a bunch of people who would just have lots of drivers. And to be fair, drivers in that part of the world is common. Period. It's not just like a lot of people in Dubai don't drive because they just don't feel like it, when they can have somebody else drive for them. But I didn't think it was gonna change, but I'm glad.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
I didn't even hear any background to this. It just kind of happened, at least in terms of how the news is kind of presenting it.
Yeah, it just happened. I mean, I guess like the old king died a few years ago,
Right.
so new king. But nonetheless, I think everybody's kind of happy.
Yeah.
Second bit of news, Twitter has doubled their character limit to 280, and they're testing this. So a few select people who I guess tweet a lot have had their Twitter count double from 140 to 280.
There you go. You just solved Twitter's issues, obviously.
Yeah, now
There's no other problems there.
so,
Suddenly, Twitter can finally make some money.
now they're profitable.
Yeah, that was it. They were 10 characters away, and they've finally passed that threshold.
Do you guys use Twitter?
I don't.
I actually don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Do you guys even go on Twitter?
Rarely.
No.
I sometimes do for drama. for like Donald Trump drama,
Yeah, you
just
see
random like
screenshots.
sports drama and stuff.
You
It's
see it
fun for
live
them.
happening. Like,
Yeah, and just people. I think sometimes people are more candid. They'll say stupid stuff on there.
The thing, yeah, that's true. Like I go to Twitter. I think honestly, it's not a bad place to get information from in terms of if you're like looking at what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
Because you can just easily scroll through and it's short. Like 140 characters works for it. But at the same time, I'm like, somebody would just tell me.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I'm like, I don't really need Twitter.
Well, so you need that one person though reading Twitter so they can tell you.
That I wonder who that person is in my life actually. Who reads
I don't
Twitter?
know.
It's probably my mom.
I heard Twitter's going down actually.
It's been for a while.
Yeah.
No, they're not profitable. We should do a segment about this.
Well,
Because a segment about targeted ads. Because Twitter doesn't do didn't do targeted ads. Which means that they don't gather your information and they don't target ads towards you. Which is why a lot of these companies aren't profitable. Whereas Google and Facebook did do targeted ads.
Yeah.
But that's for a different day. Next bit of news. This I don't know how I felt about this, but there's this app that started in Liverpool. It's called Kolu. And it's an app that allows local currency for a city. Now, if you're thinking what this means, so suppose Toronto, this was in Toronto, you would have Toronto dollars that can only be used in the city of Toronto.
That's a terrible idea. I remember, I've read that, I must have been 40 or 50 years ago, there was like a company who was like, basically they employed an entire town. Maybe this was a fictional story, but I'm pretty sure it's a real story. And since this company had full power, it was like a grocery store or something, I can't remember. They basically stopped like paying people in actual money. They paid them in money that made them depend on that company.
They paid him on Canadian Tire bucks.
Basically. And then it's like I don't know, I think that's a horrible idea. Because then you're suddenly, I can only use money in Toronto.
That's the thing is they want it so people only buy from like urban, like like you go and buy from like Clubhouse instead of going to pizza.
That should be up to me though.
That is true. That's I wasn't a big fan of that either. I don't know how it feels. It feels like, any thoughts?
Like I can see the value in it, but yeah, I don't know. I think a person's money should be obviously just to some extent up to them how they want to spend it.
Wait, what do you mean you can only buy from Pizza or?
So like Pizza is like a big corporation, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you had this currency in Toronto and you went to you could only use that currency for something like Clubhouse, because the money will no longer go to the Pizza can buy it, but the money can only be circulated within Toronto, so it won't go to like their shareholders or their big corporation thing. It only go to pay the people who are living in Toronto. That's the only thing the money can be used for.
So it's just to get people to buy local.
Yes.
Oh.
It sounds like it would get really complicated.
Yeah. Also, no company would agree to that. I feel like.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Nobody it's
It's not gonna catch on.
It's ideal. It's wishful thinking is what I really like to call it.
That's a good way to put it.
So has it took off in Liverpool?
So far, yeah. Like apparently, like people are using it, but I mean, I've never been to Liverpool.
What are you gonna do? It's either like, I guess it's like either use it or you just don't have any money. I guess.
Yeah.
It's not really a choice.
I mean, the funny thing is to get this currency, you have to buy it in real dollars.
Oh.
So the company that issues it's like.
So it's worse than Canadian Tire money.
Yes, because Canadian Tire money is free. Yeah, you're.
I mean, I can just go to a local place. I don't need to pay a company so I can pay. I don't know.
Exactly. No, to me it's like kind of weird, but so the final bit of news is from GoPro.
Okay.
So GoPro is launching a 360-degree camera called the Fusion. And I didn't know GoPro did so many weird things. Did you guys know they have a drone that follows you around?
I had no idea.
What? I also just thought they strapped GoPros to like drones that were already made by different companies.
No, they have their
What?
own drone that they recently, so this is a different piece of news, but from GoPro. They just added this function on their drone that it will follow you around. And I think that's cool. That's like super.
That is cool.
Yeah, if I'm like I mean, I guess I don't do any extreme sports, but if I was to pick up an extreme sport, I would love to have that drone following me around.
It's a very niche audience and they're targeting.
But they're huge. Like they're such a big company now.
Well, I know GoPros, yeah. You know why? It's because it's their marketing too. Like they know. Like if you ever watch all these cool videos, like it always says like on a GoPro or something.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I guess like if you're like gonna buy a motorcycle, if you're gonna drive fast cars, then it's kind of cool to have a GoPro. But like,
Yeah.
at the same time, I think it's definitely changed the way people have started recording things. But this 360 camera, I mean, I don't know how many times I've wanted to see a video in 360. I'm like, no, can you just give me my
It seems
normal
yeah.
aspect?
It seems like like a hassle. You know. Because good. Like the nice thing about these traditional television is you just kind of stare at it, like your body gets to basically shut down.
That is true. Yeah.
Like, it's hands off, but a 3D video by nature it's forces interaction, and kind of one of the nice things with TV is you don't have to interact with it.
It's kind of ironic, yeah, because like the GoPro, it's kind of like a hands off GoPro, the drone that follows you around, and then the user has to.
Yeah.
It's hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. We should have a GoPro inside the CSSU.
I mean, I don't know what we do with it.
360, you just follow where the treasure's going. Where's the money going, bud? No.
That's how Twitch started, actually.
Are you serious?
It started with something called I think it was called Justin TV, and what Justin TV was, it was originally, he was the CEO of Twitch. I don't think he is anymore. He literally for 24/7 he had a stream of his whole life, and you could watch him. And
oh my god!
It was
like the Truman Show.
Kind of, yeah, but it was his idea.
Yeah.
So it was kind of
the internet the Truman Show.
But it was like an internet. Well, sort of. Well, he was aware of it in the movie, but anyway, it was kind of an internet sensation at the time.
Wait. What about when he goes to the bathroom? Like
I don't remember. I think he put like a sheet.
Lisa's interested.
I think he put like a sheet or something. I remember reading that. So you couldn't see him shower, for example.
Okay.
But he would shower, obviously.
It's wild.
Just showering.
And that's where his live streaming entrepreneurship kind of started. After that, he opened Just TV up to anyone who wanted to live stream. Then it shut down because it's not obviously a profitable idea. And then he's like, why don't I do it for video games? And lo and behold, that was a good idea.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the news. I guess there wasn't too much happening. I mean, at least
other than
political stuff.
Yeah.
Which is always happening. I mean, there's always North Korea.
Yeah.
It's always there.
But yeah,
Trump.
there's Trump. But that's what it's. But for now, we're going to go straight into questions. Did you guys have any news you guys wanted to add?
I don't know if it was like the right time, but I need to plug the CSSU General Counsel position that we're opening up. Check
Right.
on the Facebook page, apply for that if you want to get more involved in events.
Another thing we should mention is we're looking for more office ops. So I don't know if Haider kind of wants to go into the details of that, but basically you get card access to CSSU under contingency that you have to kind of help out with some events. Sometimes you need volunteers, and as well as kind of manage the office. Usually that means kind of doing the register when no one else can.
Yeah, I think you've nailed most of it. Like doing office ops is mostly like making sure that the office is open because we want to have the place open as much as possible. So I mean, if you're like the type of person who's like, hey, I hang around the CSSU quite often, but I want card access, and you already help out with the shop. Then yeah, just honestly send me a Facebook message. A bunch of you already have. I can definitely get that into the works.
Yeah.
Show you how it works. How Square is used and everything else, and the good old ice cream sandwiches. So yeah, we are definitely looking for people because we want the place to be open as much as possible.
Yep.
Actually, I'll sign up for that.
Okay.
Got one
Okay.
person right here.
Yeah, well, good. So you'll be more on the CSSU.
Spend more time in the office.
Exactly. Okay, so anything else? Should we go straight into
I think we should go into questions.
Okay. So the topic for this show is internships and a little bit of student politics, but mostly how to get an internship. So Cheryl and Lisa, both of you did internships, I believe, this summer.
Yep.
So my first question to you would be, what do you need to get an internship? What type of skills? What exactly is the employer looking for?
I wish I knew, but no. I guess I'm just speaking from personal experience.
There are
here.
probably better people that are more qualified for this question, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, so fun fact, me and Lisa had the same internship this summer, so I feel like our views on this are really similar. But in terms of, I guess, skills that most employers are looking for, I guess they're really gonna grill you on algorithms for your interview, for sure. But to get that interview, I think you really need to put all the languages that you know on your resume, even if you need to put down basic JavaScript instead of like JavaScript on there or something.
Yeah. To add on to that, actually, algorithms is definitely the biggest thing for interviews. Because that like something I think a lot of first years don't know is that in a lot of ways, computer science interviews are almost like a test, kind of. It's sort of like if you're taking 165 or 263. They're not actually that different in a way than a test. I mean, they're sometimes usually a little bit easier, but it's kind of think of these algorithms and code them up. But one thing I've noticed that a lot of people kind of tend to miss out on is companies, at least small to middle-sized companies, especially if they're tech-oriented, tend to very much care about their kind of company culture. So don't forget about people skills when you're trying to find a job. People want to know, will they work well with you? Can they vibe off you, kind of? Do you have similar hobbies to people that work there? And I think that's something that a lot of students kind of miss out on. If you're going to a larger company, usually it's fine. But if you're kind of looking for a startup or a company that just IPO'd recently, so something sub 1,000 employees, where there's like maybe 200 in every office, maybe even less. They probably do care to some extent about how you interact with people, basically, in their company. So don't forget about that. I think that's a very big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just, like, once you go in, it's not just an interviewer and interviewee, because that person, they're thinking about, like, what it'd be like to work with you on their team. So they do want to see you, like, not just, go in and code. They want to talk to you a little bit. And also, earlier you said... What was it that you said?
Social skills?
Algorithms.
Company culture.
Algorithms. Oh, yeah. You said it was like a test. Yeah, it is like a test, exactly. Like, you don't know what the question's going to be, and you're going in, like, kind of nervous. And but also, like, it's not like a test because you have to speak out loud, which is so bizarre.
Yeah, it's hard.
You have to become this, like, strange version of yourself that's, like... says everything that you do and think, and it's very bizarre. You have to practice that for sure.
Yeah, actually, one thing that I try to do with my friends specifically for that is we would meet up in person. We would pull up some questions and we would practice them. Like if someone was doing wrong, we'd be like, you got to speak up. Like, what are you thinking right now? What are you thinking right now?
Yeah.
And it's annoying. I hate it.
I know, it's weird. It's like, who am I?
Well, going back to Chris's point about like being like a good company fit and just being like a nice person, at like an interview that I had recently, the interviewer like came in and asked me about like the graphics club, computer graphics club plug. But yeah, like he asked me about it and like, I was able to talk about it and it was like a nice conversation like you would have with someone you just met. And then at the end, he was like, oh yeah, I was just asking because I actually have a master's in computer vision. I was like, oh my God. So like I asked him about his thesis and like I think he actually enjoyed talking about that.
Yeah.
Did you like ask him to join?
Okay, walk across the street, come on.
Okay, I think we combined question 1 and 2 because question 2 was what kind of prep do you need for interviews? So you guys kind of brushed up on that as well.
Yeah.
I definitely think, I'm sure you guys will have stuff to add too for this actually. One thing I do want to recommend is there's a book, Cracking the Coding Interview.
Yeah.
Yep.
That book got me my internship, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. It's, if you haven't gone through it, go through it, get a buddy or two, and go through the questions and practice them.
Practice out loud with each other, explaining to each other.
Practice out loud. And another thing is don't just reason about them, code it up. Because so many people forget about that, and on interviews, it's not just explain the algorithm, it's show that you can implement this.
Also invest in a whiteboard.
Yeah. Or use some of them at Bayhan. What we would do is there's the laptop lounge. It's right beside room 2250 actually, and they just have a huge whiteboard. And I almost never see people using them. Sometimes people write jokes on them. That's a really good resource if you want to practice, because it can kind of give off that actual interview vibe, because you have a big whiteboard. You can pull up a desk. You can have someone standing up. I'd recommend that.
Okay, so I want to go back, just like talk a little bit more, because my follow-up to that would be, how do you get those skills? So you talked about algorithms and your languages and people skills. How do you acquire those?
well, after doing well in like 165 or and 263 or 265.
263 or 265.
Yeah, it's more so.
I feel like if you take in 265, you're probably fine.
You're a pro.
But yeah, 263 and 373.
Yeah, so like after that, I feel like you do have to like go through like cracking the coding interview for those type of questions, because the ones that you see in interviews aren't exactly like the ones that you would see in class.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of, they put some twists on them.
There's also LeetCode. I think there's a couple other
LeetCode,
websites.
HackerRank.
Yeah. They literally have. You can actually, like, I think, at least if you pay a couple bucks a month, sort by what questions for specific companies, like what interview questions they use, and a lot of those questions are actually like very similar things you might see on an interview. So I would say that for the social skills too, I'd say invest in a hobby if there's something you like. For me, I kind of play competitive video games.
That's not a good hobby.
It's not a good hobby.
Social skills?
It's not a good hobby, but while on times, it's literally the worst actually hobby. But regardless, I play competitive video games, and I remember mentioning this to one of my interviewers, and they're like, "Oh, we all play this. We all play Smash Bros or whatever at the office. Like you'll fit right in at this company." And like, they really liked that. And I saw that they had a foosball. Not foosballs, ping pong bar thing. I think it's a bar right across the street. So I figured probably everyone plays it there. So, I mean, I lied about this, but thank God they didn't follow up on it. I was just like, oh, I love ping pong. Like, it's something I really care about. And they really liked that because they were just like, oh, like we all play that. We sometimes go after the bar. So like after you go to the bar after work and kind of just play. So they really liked that. Cause like, okay, you clearly would fit in here. And that was something they cared about.
I'm gonna remember that one. It's like go around the company headquarters, be like, oh, there's like a badminton court here.
Yeah.
They must play this after.
Yeah.
Just light, completely light. Lindan, my favorite badminton. Like literally. Okay.
So did you get the job?
I didn't, but in my defense, they were looking for someone full time and not someone for 4 months, which they didn't tell me until after they said I passed the interview.
Oh.
So you got the job.
Yeah, they said give us a call after you graduate, but then I got a different job. So
Okay, no, hold on. You got the job then.
sort of.
Yeah. Okay.
So get better.
You
at
said
foosball.
no. Yeah. So
It wasn't said no. It's just like it was like, do I want to drop out or, I don't. Obviously, I want to finish the thing, or do I want to find a different internship?
Fair enough. Okay. So my second question was going to be, what kind of prep do you need for interviews? But you guys already went through that, cracking the code. So my third question would be, how do you get the interview? Like, what are the steps involved in landing, like a shot at a company?
Well, I think job fairs for like this time of the year are like super important because like a lot of the time when you're at a job fair, the companies are like waiting to hire you. Really, that's why they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely like, have your resume ready. And also sometimes they'll just ask you coding questions on the spot, like at the job fair.
It's a big one that they ask is always when you type in google.ca or some website and you press enter, explain as much detail. What are the steps that happen? That's a question that I see a lot at job fairs. So if you're going to a job fair soon, know how to answer that question in detail.
Can you repeat the question?
I'm gonna go home and Google that.
The question is when you type in a URL in the browser and you hit enter, give me as much detail as possible. What are all the steps involved? From between you and the server and the server's response back to you, like in as low level as you could go.
Okay.
Go Haider.
Yeah.
Haider, right?
Yeah.
Haider.
To add on to this question too, actually, your friends or acquaintances are your biggest ally. I mean, other than I guess your own technical capabilities. See if any of your friends' companies are hiring. If you have older siblings or parents, and they have friends that work somewhere, ask if they're hiring. It doesn't hurt for a first job.
Use nepotism.
Yeah, use it.
Yep, that's how you
It
get
can
things.
it gets you far in life if given the right connections, and don't not do that because of pride reasons. For example, you should. It's something worth doing. That's how I actually started. I first got my internship for the company I was working at, a company called Okta. I got it because someone someone that at the company gave me a referral, and that someone was a friend of my brother's.
What? That's sick.
Yeah.
How did you girls like specifically? So job, you said job fair, Cheryl?
Oh, well, not for the one that I got for this past summer, but I'm just saying like in general. Or also if a company comes in and they do like some sort of like event, like it's like Intel and whatever inside of the university, definitely go to those because they'll take resumes.
Also hackathons. I think
Yeah.
Given past years at least, there was a company called Conrad Group, and they would sponsor hackathons. I think the reasoning was for people who did well at the hackathon, they would talk to them like come by for an interview at our office. Don't skip out on those. Hackathons for a lot of reasons actually builds up your technical skills. You get the chance possibly to meet people. There's free pizza, and yeah, you might get an interview out of it.
I will say that I got my first, I guess, real job.
Yeah.
Which was at RBC. I got that because in high school I did co-op there. And then afterwards, 2 years later, I emailed my same manager. I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna remember me. I emailed him and I'll never forget. 3 minutes later, he replied, he's like, hey, come by my office.
That's
so
awesome.
I mean, like he was always kind of fond of me, but I didn't know he would be like, wow, 3 minutes says great, got me a job. I started working in downtown Toronto then. So I know it's like, you know, it kind of sounds like you know, nepotism, or my uncle works at the bank, my uncle works here, but like honestly, you should use those to your favor because if you're not, then somebody else will.
Yeah.
Because so go for it. Even if you feel like you don't know anybody, then that means you have to start networking. That's the only thing it means.
Yeah. CSSU is a good way to do that actually. That was there because you know there's so many people in the student union. If you get to know people, that's how actually I did a lot of my networking. Because a lot of smart people tend to be a little bit more motivated. Something like student unions. It's a good place. It's a good place to find people who are actually, you know, trying to push themselves and to prove themselves.
I should have brought this up earlier, but on Thursday there's a welcome to the post.
Yes.
Next Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Next Thursday, it's happening in 3200.
What's the specific day actually?
It's Thursday. I forgot the specific. I think that's October. It's the same day we're having Pancake Day.
October 5th.
October 5th.
October 5th.
I think at 4 p.m.
No, 2 to 4.
Really?
2 to 4.
Oh.
2 to 4 p.m. We're gonna have some people who used to like run the CSSU, who did PY, who are currently working, and so those are also great people if you wanted to ask or wanted information on where to go to get or advice on how to get them. So I should bring that up as well. I didn't mention this, but I wanted to ask, how important do you think GPA is in getting?
It's $1 million question.
It's $1 million question.
We're all
How-
wondering. I mean, it is important for certain jobs. Like for sure, there are certain companies that will just like take your resume. If it doesn't have your GPA on it, they'll ask you for it, and then they'll like, you know, either fold up your resume or put it in the good pile.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the majority of companies don't pay that much attention to it, unless if it's super stellar.
I don't know. I've had companies ask me for my transcripts, and I think that it definitely opens doors if you have a good GPA. It won't like ruin you if your GPA isn't good, because you know you can always like you have connections. There's always opportunities, but for the first job, absolutely, I think it does make an impact. So.
Yeah, I think those are two kind of just your back and forth key points. The answer is it depends.
Depends.
Yeah.
It depends. Good GPA is never a bad thing. Don't hate yourself if you don't have a great GPA. It's not the end of the world, and it literally won't matter by the time you're 25, 26 years old. You're trying to find your second, third job. You'll be fine. No one except for the first company is ever going to ask for your GPA.
Yeah. That said, though, do try in like 236 and 263, like we said earlier. Like,
Yeah.
those are big ones.
It's learning the foundation. It's like trying to take a math course, in high school, and you never learned addition. It's like you gotta start from your basics and kind of build up from there.
Okay. So we're gonna go into a fourth question. So what were some of like the misconceptions that you had like going into these internships, and how were they proven like false?
Well, I thought that we would have a lot of responsibility and be like working on Scrum teams like every single day, like doing intense code reviews, and like I thought there would be like much higher expectations on
More
us as
structure.
interns. Yeah, more structure also. Yeah, do you want to like talk more on that?
Yeah, basically there wasn't much order in our internship in particular, but you've had an internship, like, can you, like...
Yeah, it's funny because, and this is what I find so funny about CS internships is companies can differ so much. Cause
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
my experience was like felt the exact opposite. There was a lot of structure. At my company, one thing they really wanted to push, which was really awesome, was they wanted every intern to have a full project that they could complete from start to finish, kind of, so you could feel accomplished in some way. The code review was fully there. You know, Scrum meetings were every day. It felt very complete in many ways, but I know for other companies, kind of the internship is you're sometimes doing the unfun work sometimes, which is inevitable. Someone needs to do that, and it's a good way to learn. So that's another thing. It's kind of like with GPA, with kind of the way companies work, is sometimes it's hard to answer these questions, and I think this is what a lot of people who end up asking these questions kind of maybe don't consider, is it depends on the company, because they can be so diverse in terms of their expectations.
Yeah, and it's not just big or small companies.
But also it varies like from team to team within a big company as well.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah,
basically the answer is that it varies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But I think
yeah.
I think those are two the spectrums, though, sides of the spectrum. Sometimes people expect that they're gonna have this huge, like you said, this huge responsibility, and it's not at all what you expect. And sometimes people think it's just gonna be a breeze, and sometimes you have all this pressure and you think you can't make it. So I just say make sure you manage your expectations. Realize that there's two sides to it. It could be kind of almost full-blown development work, or it could be they're like, you know, they're kind of almost babying me a little bit. It could be one or the other. Realize that, and, you know, manage your expectations. If you know people that work at the company, ask them what it's like, so you kind of know what kind of feel to get. But in saying that, and you guys brought that up, that's a good point, is take into consideration that you probably won't be working on the same team as your friends, and a different team can almost be like a different company in terms of how they
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah, my friend...
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay, my friend Shweta, she worked at Microsoft this summer, and she said that her manager was like, she was lucky, she got a good manager, and they were like a family. They went out, they had a coffee Fridays, like every Friday.
Yeah.
And then the other like teams, they didn't even talk to each other that much. It totally depends.
Also, going off that, like once you actually like get into your internship, don't be afraid to like ask people other than like your assigned mentor or manager, because like generally people all around you are all super nice. They won't
Yes.
judge you for not knowing something.
Yes.
Actually, they're
Yeah.
like more happy that you're asking rather than like deleting half a database by accident, right?
Yeah, it's true. The worst thing
Totally.
the worst thing a person can do is when someone tries to give you work and you're like, I can do this, and then you can't do it, and then you don't do it.
Yeah.
People would rather people would rather train you than
Then
be
be like,
confident.
what do I do with this
Exactly.
person? Yeah. Don't be prideful.
Don't
Yes.
don't have
Yes.
an ego.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
biggest
I
thing.
think it's good life advice in general.
Yeah.
Right.
Just,
I'd say so.
The way I try to treat employment is I try to find a place where I can be the stupidest person in the room, because that's how you grow the most. And
By
I mean,
acting stupid.
not by acting. That's not what I'm saying. Not by acting stupid, but if everyone's smarter than you, then there's only one way you can go. It's up.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I know what you mean. Just pulling your leg there, bud.
I feel you.
Did anyone else want to add? Otherwise, we're gonna go for a change of pace.
Yes.
Ooh,
Okay.
Okay.
So
let's do that.
so now we're gonna switch from work to back to students, specifically student politics and extracurriculars.
Let me take this question.
Okay.
So this is my 5th year of school, and every year or two, you overhear something big in the UTSU, and when my friends and I discuss it, something we can never get around is we have this burning question, and it's why should I care? How does this affect me? Because I find a lot of stuff that happens in student politics you can sometimes feel the residual effects of, but I feel the average student doesn't realize what kind of impact it's having on their student life. And I was wondering, the golden question here is, why should the average student care about student politics and what's happening in student politics?
Well, a lot of the times, like for the UTSU, you pay quite a significant amount every year, and some, you might not care, but some people, they want to know where that money's going,
Yeah.
and they want to take that into their hands. But if you don't, it's fine too. Like, I get that school gets really busy. But yeah, it's just, you don't have to do too much even. Just like following the varsity on Facebook and reading an article, like even reading the headlines every so often.
Or hearing it in a podcast.
Or tune into Haider and Chris's.
way.
The best way, yes.
The condensed version.
Yeah, I think just keeping up, like, no matter what organization you're part of, even if it's, like we're a part of Toronto, keeping up a little bit with Toronto and with Canada, like, it's always good to stay relatively a little informed.
Yeah.
Because why not? I guess that's, I don't know, do you have any opinions?
I mean, it's just like it makes your university experience more enjoyable. Honestly, like you
true.
feel like you're
Yeah.
actually like doing something here and not just schoolwork and being sad,
Yeah, at least being part of the CSSU, it's nice to feel involved.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're part of
100%.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you meet
Exactly.
people that like you see on a regular basis because you're all doing this sort of stuff. So like you're closer friends with them, really.
Yeah, I guess you get what you put in, basically.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
actually like met up with like a friend who graduated recently, and it was very interesting talking to him because he talked about how hard it was about meeting new people.
Yeah.
And
Like outside of school?
yeah, outside of school,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
you graduated, because like you don't. I think you kind of take for granted how many people you meet. Like every time you go to a different class, tutorial, you're just gonna bump into somebody new. You don't know how or when or why, but you just start. Once you start like working, I
Yeah.
think that number, unless you're like a social butterfly.
Yeah, once you're in a company, your social aspects are limited unless you go out of your way. Especially universities, the one time in your life where you don't have to go out of your way to meet people. Like
Yeah.
they're just everywhere around you.
Yeah, and exactly like as you said. But then from there, you wanna say like, do I wanna make more meaningful relationships? And I have to say that like personally speaking, like I've made a lot more like friends from like hanging out at the CSSU, even being
Yeah.
more involved. Like,
How did you get involved with the CSSU?
so see the good question. So my friend from Vic, because I used to live on Vic,
Yeah.
he was my floor mate. We became really good friends. I actually met Chris through him. His name's Jacob Bryanston.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a legend in CS.
He's a legend, CS legend. So he said, like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. He's like, you want to come by, like, the computer science student union? I'm like, why would I want to do that? But like, sure, why not? Came by, walked in, and started talking to a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And from there, I kind of knew Chris before that, but I didn't I would never
Yeah,
think about hosting a podcast with
Not a chance.
no chance. But like from there, again, like we became good buds.
Yeah.
From like a lot of other people, like some who were graduated, some who are still around. To just kind of got involved, and from like I can see, even after I graduate, and I'm like around town, like what do I want to do? I like shoot them a message, be like, hey, do you guys want to go for food? Actually, 2 weeks ago we did. We all went to Kanji Queen, which is in that like, I guess that's like our thing. It's a different thing, but like we went
Yeah.
out for food. So it was it's fun. And the thing is that I know that once I'm working, once you're like doing a 9 to 5 job, you're just not gonna have that time.
Exactly, yeah.
So
And even if you do, you're not going to have time to meet people who you'd want to do that with. I mean, unless you get lucky at work, obviously.
if you're working at Facebook and everybody has to send you a Facebook invite. But no, that's how I got involved. But the I guess like why I got more involved is because I started caring, right? Like when you're starting hanging around the CSSU, like it was like what do we usually do? And somebody's like, we do games night. We haven't had one yet. And I'm like, I actually I was set up last year's first games night.
And
which, to be fair, didn't turn out too hot, but it went better than expected, at least for me.
it's only a couple last year. First and almost only, I think.
Almost only. I think there were 2. But
I think we have more games than already than that.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, that's why I got involved, because like I started to care, and I'm like happy, that I did.
Yep,
We're happy you did too, Haider.
Yeah, thank you.
But also, like, another thing is that, like, the people who tend to be involved are the people who, like, tend to have their lives together, and that kind of rubs off on you. So
Yes.
that's another bonus.
Really? Because I do not have my life
I
together.
know. You too. No.
I feel like you've put more of an effort in yourself since joining the
That
CSU.
is, and I will say that is because you see some people inside the CSU, I'm like, wow, this guy does everything well.
Yeah,
I know there's more like 2 characters who come strictly in the mind.
No, that's why I remember, 2 years ago I was I did have an internship, but it was, it wasn't going anywhere. It was poorly managed. I wasn't doing anything relevant to my field. It was a programming job, sort of, but they never gave me work. And I didn't care. But I remember when I joined the CSSU and I saw so many people smart, I'm like, I want to strive for that. I want to better myself to match my peers. If you're surrounded by smart people, you're just going to want to try your best to match them. Which is why
Totally.
CSSU is full of smart people. You should come
Yeah.
by. But no, I guess, yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
Last question is, how do you get involved with student politics and extracurriculars?
Well, student politics, I guess. Lisa's probably going to talk more on that, so I'll say that for her.
So how do you
But
become
for-
CS rep?
Oh, yeah. But, like, for extracurriculars, you could, honestly, you can start a club. Like, I started the computer graphics club last year, and, like, that's definitely an option that people don't realize that they have. A lot of the time, people think, like, they have to find a club that they actually enjoy going to. I mean, dude, you can start one.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
We'll always have your back. I want to mention, like, earlier Chris brought up about how if you, for office ops, that's one way you can get involved. Like,
Yeah.
especially, like, with the CSSU. But, like...
And you get, 24/7 card access to a room.
To a room.
Microwave.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
studying late night. Now you don't have a room. You need some, like, energy drinks in you. You know where to pop by.
Yeah, which is why that's I think one of the big reasons I actually wanted to join CSSU last year. So it's like awesome.
Wow.
Like,
Honest.
yeah, it was a nice place to study, and
Yeah.
you just accidentally start meeting people the longer you stay around.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think like just hanging out and going to different events, especially the meetings, especially during the beginning of the year. Once October hits, it's you have midterms. Once October comes, clubs kind of slow down, right? That's what generally speaking. But then they pick up. There's like a wave you have to ride.
Yeah.
So you want to try to get in quick, but like it's the saying better late than never is like I don't think is more like relevant than to like this. You can always, especially like at least for us, but I know many other clubs, if you just send a message like, hey, how do I join? How do I do this? I want to do this. You can just show up.
Yeah.
And do it.
People are always, most clubs at least, are always looking for new members.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, most clubs don't build off of previous meetings, so like don't be afraid to just walk in the middle of like February and try to join a club.
Exactly. Lisa, student politics.
Student politics. Well, I got involved because of Jake Reinerston. It was kind of. Do you guys know about that or?
No,
No.
I guess it's
Okay.
something he
That's
didn't
what I
tell
mean.
us.
He's a legend.
He's a legend.
He's
The elusive.
still today influencing the student life for the average US student.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he just approached me. Because I organized an event for the CSSU like games night, and he was like, "You."
Wait, last year?
Yeah.
So you made the second one?
Yeah.
Damn. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me
Okay.
neither.
Were you guys around? I don't know. I didn't.
I wasn't there for the second one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, he was like, "You seem keen, and I need somebody for Demand Better, which was the slate that I ran on." So I was like, "Hey." So it was kind of like I stumbled into it, but in general, I think like student politics is like it's a minority of students that care about politics. So if you want to be a part of it, just reach out and just join. Like it's same thing with clubs.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I'm actually more like I'm like pretty shook right now. I didn't realize you were the one. Second
Pretty shook.
Yeah, I was watching you the whole time. You're just like.
I'm like, no. I was wondering. I'm like, who's the person? Because I more or less knew everybody from the CSS.
Yeah, I never knew who ran games night.
I'm like, no. I was like, who ran second games night? I'm like, I know there was two.
Yeah.
Like, who ran the second one? They're like, I don't know, somebody. Like,
Somebody.
now they're like, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it. I'm pretty sure Jake mentioned it to me, but I just forgot.
Yeah, probably.
It's all good.
But okay. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Then-
Haider.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Haider.
Thank you.
You know, Haider, at this point, Lisa, it's fine.
You answered to both.
Yeah, answer the vote. Okay, so like, I mean, I
Only
guess
for you. No.
I should mention this. So my name's actually pronounced Heather,
Wow.
which is very similar to Heather, which is
Yeah.
a girl's name. So that always bothered me when I was a child. When I first immigrated here, that bothered me. I'm like, I don't know how to. And the one day, people like some teacher looked at my name was like Haider, and I'm like, yes, that's it. That's my name from now on. I found it. But yeah. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.